Good morning, good people. Today is Thursday, August 8, 2024. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning, a little bit before 6. Here we are in wonderful, looks like I bit myself shaving. There we go. We'll see what happens now. Good morning. Buenos dias. So here we are in wonderful Pahrump. Again, it's about 6 o'clock in the morning. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. This is Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help our students and other interested people on their journey through this life in preparation for what comes next. Today, we are going to be talking about the little guy. The little guy, the impact the little guy can have on the rest of us. But first, a little disclaimer about what we're here for. So we are, again, here to help our students and interested people in their journey through this life, helping them learn the tools they need so they can fight the good fight, run the good race, etc. Well done, that we can honor the gift of life that we have been given, regardless of what happened and however we did the best we could given the poor mistakes, the poor choices we made. Yeah, somebody told me, well, my parents did the best they could. And I think he put a period there instead of a comma, the best they could given the poor choices that they made. Given the fact that they would always make a poor choice. So they did the best they could given that they made poor choices. Okay. So is that a compliment or what? I don't know, but I think that goes to all of us. Well, I guess it would be, some people can't say I did the best I could given the poor choices I made. It might just be the poor choices I made. I didn't do the best I could. I made poor choices. How about I did the best I could given the poor choices I made? Well, better. How about I did the best I could? Okay, well, we're going to talk about the little guy, but before that, let's look at what is an 80-year-old. Advice from an 80-year-old. What is the advice from an 80-year-old? Always accept an outstretched hand. Could that be a preparation for today's 11 o'clock meeting, Zoom meeting? How do you give a virtual handshake? Bonk, fist bump. Why don't we try the fist bump, bonk? Always accept an outstretched hand. Okay, I think President Lincoln would probably go for that because he's also famous for saying, I don't like that guy. I need to get to know him better. I must get to know him better. Okay, good morning, Atticus Vaughn Atticus. Is it still raining in Prescott? Is it still raining in Jacksonville? It's not raining here. I think it's supposed to be 105. 105 degrees here. Okay, not raining in Prescott now, and it is cloudy in Jacksonville. Okay, so we're going to talk about the little guy. The little guy. I'm going to give notice to down below in the red letter. We have Darren Hardy. Of course, Andrew Huberman. Very good talk from yesterday regarding what? Habits. The secret to success is having good habits. 75% of our behavior is habits. We can create these little subroutines that we do, and we engage the subroutine like brushing our teeth. Here's the conscious routine: toothpaste, toothbrush, put toothpaste on toothbrush, put toothbrush under water, toothbrush to teeth. Now go into something else. because your brain, you can do this automatically as a habit, unconscious behavior that frees me up to do other things. Cool. Okay, that was yesterday. That's red letter. What else do we have? Red letter. Darren Hardy, the little guy. How to turn your pain into unstoppable purpose. Yeah, that's the thing about the little guy. That's the secret about the little guy. How to turn your pain into unstoppable purpose. Unstoppable purpose. So we've got two things on that. I'll put the second one in red letter now. The second one is regarding Ignatius of Loyola, turning pain into unstoppable purpose. And what do we got going? Okay, hi, Matt. Hi, Mutt. Matthew. Okay, whatever. Muffin. What's up? Nothing, honey. Okay. All right, so how to turn your pain into unstoppable purpose. Darren Hardy, quick little 7-minute thing. And it's a discussion about a girl, young teenage girl, riding her bicycle, gets hit in 1980, 44 years ago, gets hit by a car who sped off, totally wiped her out, knocked her off her shoes, her out of her shoes, threw her over 100 feet through the air, destroyed every organ in her body. The driver drove off. He'd been out of jail for 2 days on a DUI. That was the start of Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. So one woman who apparently asked the arresting officer what's going to happen, and the answer was, well, not really a lot. You know, drinking and driving is kind of a misdemeanor offense. So the only was at the time the only misdemeanor homicide at the time, because it was, when you're drunk, you don't do things that you would do when you weren't drunk, so you weren't in your right state of mind. So you're responsible for the behavior you have when you're under the influence, where before it was, I was drunk, don't blame me for my behavior, I was drunk. Everybody gets drunk sometimes. Well, anyway, so that was the start of MAD. It was one woman, one unexperienced housewife, outraged from the pain of her daughter and laws that were unfair, somebody who'd been arrested 3 times for DUI, with bodily harm, driving off, whatever, things that today would 10 years in prison, then misdemeanor, get out, go back to drink, etc. One woman, no experience, but had a cause, had pain, and her purpose was to get the laws changed. And now the whole alcohol industry has changed dramatically to the point where people don't drink much when they go out for dinner. It was perfectly acceptable before the 1980s to be a little bit intoxicated at night driving. Fred Thomas, is that his name? From FedEx, had a similar problem. Okay, well, we're not talking about DUI. We're talking about the little guy. Drunks Against Mad Mothers. Okay, that one didn't really go very well. Mothers Against Drunk Drivers has changed life as we know it, to the point where people are, no, I'm not going to drive. I'm not drinking because I'm driving. If I get pulled over, it's all bad. Even if I don't get in a car wreck, even if I'm just speeding a little bit and I'm intoxicated and I'm just slightly over the legal limit, which means I'm not really impaired, but there's this artificial limit, bad things happen. So not drinking and driving. Very different before that. What's the other one? You said there was two. What's the other one? The other one is our TED Talk for today and ties us into day 4 of week 4 of our neuroscience-oriented approach to success. Ignatius of Loyola. What you might say, well, what was his unstoppable pain? What was his pain that he turned into unstoppable purpose? Well, it started with a cannonball smashing his shin. I think it was his left leg. Smashing that, changing the course of his life forever. Having a long recuperation, and then feeling guilt for a lifetime of pursuit of pleasure. And what am I going to do now? For 20 years, say 15, for almost 20 years, this has been the life I have had. Courtier, soldier, brawler, somebody who would drink, have sex with women who weren't totally willing, etc. Not a great guy. Maybe I wish I was like him kind of guy. But then a cannonball changed everything. Then inset mental problems to the point of living in a cave for about a year, begging for food, but scourging himself for the sins he had caused, unwilling to forgive himself, until at some point, who knows, the psychologist might say, yeah, he hit rock bottom, had a break, but had a good vision because he was looking for the good, not looking for the bad. As he's swirling around the toilet bowl, he's praying for something good. Please help me, show me enlightenment. What is it all about? Is this all there is? No, I know there isn't. What else is there? And then as he is linked to humanity, is getting stretched ever more, breaks. But then a vision which could probably be described as something mystical, more on the Eastern Buddhist or Hindu type of thing, and another radical idea, just like MAD had a radical idea, changing the laws that had been in place forever, for hundreds of years, thousands of years. Drinking was part of life, changing the law. Here it was this vision of, or this idea, this inspiration, enlightenment of God is in all things. And if you're a physicist person and you said, you created something from nothing, would you be in that thing you created? Is there some essence of you in that thing that you created? And you could say, yeah, from this perspective, yeah. So Ignatius had the idea of God is in all things. He's not out there. Well, yeah, he is out there, but he's also in here. And you can go to the gospel, and if you take that look at it, what did Jesus say? Yeah, the kingdom of heaven is in our midst. It is within you. Some translations say it is within you. When you get into Paul, there's a lot of things of the indwelling of the Holy Spirit inside of you. I still don't get that concept of the Holy Spirit, but the triune God, the Trinity, etc. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about the little guy, how pain can fuel progress. So I don't know the woman's name. I don't remember it. You mentioned it. Darren Hardy mentioned it. The pain, the indescribable pain of her daughter, her beautiful daughter's needless, senseless death that was permitted to happen because the laws did not punish people who committed senseless crimes. People who themselves had a sickness that was not treated properly, was treated through escape, through alcohol, dulling the pain of life. That was the fuel to get MAD going, and that has changed our country, changed life as we know it. I remember before MAD, I was in the jukebox business when it started coming out, and noticed the impact of people, of how laws and ordinances and things were changing. This is in the 80s. How things were changing because of this thing that I think happened in 79. But in the 80s, mid 80s in San Diego, it was really, things were changing. I remember that. The ideas towards drinking, and there was people that were in bars were very anti-MAD. They were happy, no, now they're mad. And then for Ignatius, I think Viktor Frankl would say, yeah, his pursuit of meaning, man's search for meaning, Ignatius' search for meaning. What's it all about? I thought it was this, boom, cannonball. Clearly, what I thought was the meaning of life is not the meaning of life. What is it? What is it? What is it? I can't handle this pressure. I need to know, I need to know, I need to know. Living in a cave, not really having conversations with people, isolating, scourging himself, punishing himself, pulling that string of sanity, connection to the world, and then clawing his way back, inch by inch, step by step, to an idea that resonated with other people to the point where it too changed the world. It too changed the world, changed the church, Christian church, maybe perhaps kept the Catholic Church alive because this was right at the beginning of the Protestant Reformation, and kept the church going, perhaps, but definitely was at the forefront. So the little guy. So what does that mean? It means if you have an idea and you have passion and purpose and pain, if you can channel that pain into forward motion, into overcoming the cause of the pain. So the cause of MAD's pain was a daughter who died senselessly in a very horrific fashion, though perhaps the daughter had no awareness of it. Probably did not have any awareness of the pain, but it was the loss, the thought about the loss of a life, all of the things that were not going to happen in that person's life, the things that were taken away. And for Ignatius, it was the removal, the taking away of the life he had been living for 20, almost 15 years or so, and all of his ambitions and hopes and plans for what his future was going to be ripped away instantaneously, and having to, on his own, figure out the solution, like the mother sitting at her desk or kitchen table, that this aggression will not stand, to quote the Big Lebowski. Okay, so with that, we are going to end it for today. Try to think of the pain that you have that you can channel into purpose. The little guy. It's the little guy. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. And today had two good examples of people who overcame their circumstances and changed the world. And with that, that means if they could do that, we can do something. We can do something if we put our minds to it. If we get around to it. Where are those round to its anyway? Where's that box of round to its? Bonk.